Hello, everybody. Let's continue talking about the reading process L1 and L2. My name is Carlos Nolasco, and I'm going to provide you with some information about the key sociocultural and institutional factors in L1, L2 reading. Starting from the point of view that the level of linguistic competence in English essentially could be considered as the main element that intervenes in the understanding of a text that is being read, we can infer that no text could be understood if the reader doesn't have a good linguistic background. This means that every reader must definitely possess the minimum skills related to one's own knowledge to be able to decode in the most precise way possible the message they are reading. In this sense, it is not possible to rule out the role of the human cognitive system plays while a certain reading is being carried out. On the other hand, the lack of familiarity with the culture and convention of the English language, for instance, represents an obstacle for students to understand certain topics that are handled in the course of a determined reading model. Basically, Graves' thesis about reading in a second language refers to the ability to read and understand a foreign language fluently and accurately. This is a challenge for many students who are learning a second language as it requires a deep understanding of a vocabulary, grammar, and structure of the language. Let's look at the factors that influence second language reading comprehension. Although all the variables and factors implicit in question of how culture shapes prior knowledge and influences reading are not fully understood, there is agreement that prior knowledge is important and the content outline plays an integral role in reading and comprehension. In general, readers tend to have a higher level of comprehension when the content is familiar to them. Thus, it can be stated that second language readers do not possess the same degree of cognitive content as first language readers do, and therefore this may sometimes result in comprehension difficulties. According to Grabe, both sociocultural and institutional factors can have a great influence on reading in the first L1 and second language L2. Sociocultural environments can affect how individuals approach reading and what type of text they read. For example, in some cultures, reading may be seen basically as a leisure activity, while in others, it may be seen as an essential skill for work or education. This is a clear example of how sociocultural factors, such as the social and cultural environment, can affect the way the learner comprehends a text. Regarding L2 reading, Gray suggests that the same sociocultural and institutional factors can play a role, but often in more complex ways. For instance, L2 readers may face additional barriers in terms of access to L2 reading material and may have fewer opportunities to practice L2 reading outside of an educational setting. The social context influences second language reading comprehension in several aspects. On the one hand, the social context can influence the student's motivation and interest in second language reading. Additionally, social context can affect text comprehension as a student's cultural knowledge and prior experiences can influence their interpretation of texts. The importance of the social context focuses on the possibility of finding in reading different versions of the word that exist at the moment of enunciation and reception of the text that are read. That is, it will be the social context that offers the possibility of knowing more than just the line of the readings. The social environment is influenced by all the participants who act and all the interaction that happen between them. For example, a class or group usually have its own social hierarchy, and that sense makes the social order encourage and make more difficult the reading comprehension. Grave supports the idea that economic status can influence second language reading comprehension because people with greater economical sources can have access to higher quality education and more varied and enriching reading materials. On the other hand, people with limited economic resources may have less access to educational resources and reading material, which may affect their reading comprehension in a second language. Exposure to language is a key factor in reading comprehension, which is considered as an essential skill in this process. According to Gray, language exposure refers to the amount of time a person spends listening, reading, and speaking in the target language. This exposure can occur naturally through interaction with native speakers or through consumption of material in the target language, or intensively through formal instruction in that language. Cultural context, the student's cultural of origin can affect their second language reading comprehension. Previous experiences and cultural knowledge can have an impact on how information is interpreted and text is understood. And finally, support from teachers, tutors, parents, and classmates can have an important impact on second language reading comprehension. A supportive environment and constructive feedback can facilitate the development of reading skills. Educational policies and social attitudes. GRAPE 2009 suggests that institutional factors, such as the type of educational programs and the resources available, can influence second language reading. Linguistic attitudes, such as the opinions, ideas, and prejudices that a speaker have regarding a language, could also influence a reader when understanding a text. So, a good attitude towards a certain reading could positively contribute to understand it better and easier. Linguistic identity is a complex topic that refers to the way in which individuals identify with a particular language or languages. This identity can be influenced by a variety of factors, such as ethnicity, culture, education, and personal experiences. In the context of L2 reading, linguistic identity can play an important role in a student's motivation and success. A student who has a strong linguistic identity in their native language may be more motivated to read a second language test and may also be more successful in doing so. This is because a strong linguistic identity can provide students with a sense of confidence and belonging, which can help them overcome the challenges of understanding better certain reading. Literacy is a key factor in L2 reading comprehension. A student with higher levels of literacy in their native language tend to be more successful in understanding second language reading. This is because literacy provides students with the skills and knowledge necessary to understand and produce written tests. Literacy includes a number of skills, such as phonological awareness, reading fluency, and reading comprehension. It's important to take into account that phonological awareness acts as the ability to identify and manipulate speech sounds. Reading fluency represents the ability to read accurately, quickly, and expressively, and reading comprehension could be seen as the ability to understand the meaning of a written text. In conclusion, it is important to remember that each person is unique and can be influenced in many different ways by these factors. Furthermore, other individual factors, such as prior learning experience and cognitive abilities, may also play an important role in second language reading comprehension. These sociocultural and institutional factors can interact and affect each other, creating a complex environment that influences second language reading comprehension. It is greatly important to take this factor into consideration when designing teaching programs and strategies to improve second language reading comprehension. Well, these are my references, and thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate it.